All right, we continue more of the conversation around the Browns' fantastic 13-10 win over the Packers. We're going to talk offense specifically today. Up on the website, the All-22 breakdown, the full breakdown, an hour plus, like an hour and 20 minutes every play of the offense is live for Browns Film Breakdown subscribers. There's a teaser trailer of that out on YouTube you can take a look at to see if it's the type of thing you enjoy watching. Again, it's every play broken down. So if you're into it, go find that. Decide if you want to come over and unlock those every single week. You get the same thing for the defense tomorrow. But today, like I said, today's podcast specifically, we are focusing on offense. We're going to talk about Joe Flacco, whether he is the problem, the solution, where we stand on that, why the collective of the offense, although a little better at spots this week, still not producing the way you would hope it would produce. So we'll get into all the details there. We will talk about updates on injuries, particularly to the tackle situation, which appears to be a little bit dire at the moment. And then we will talk about the offense at a deeper level, with the back half of the podcast being for Browns Film Breakdown subscribers, the comprehensive offensive breakdown. So it's all covered for you today. Every angle of the offense. You'll have every answer you need about why they're playing the way they are, what defenses are doing to them, and every detail in between. We are proud to bring you today's show, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook, where you can get some fantastic Carson Schwessinger rookie lines still out there. Pretty good. If you want to get in on this Browns defense, some future lines out there with some good odds. So take advantage of what they have going on over at FanDuel right away. All right, let's get started with today's show right now. What's up, everybody? Welcome into today's show. It's Brad and Jake, and we are here in the midst of watching some Monday Night Football halftime. Ravens, Lions, all tied up. Saw a guy put out a tweet about you can't stop the Ravens run game without selling out. And I'm like, if you take Cam Mitchell off the field, you probably don't, have as much success. The Browns, ironically, did that the next week, which was quite the decision. It's funny, Brad. We're just starting, and I'm already off on a tangent. You cannot, what's said front facing can never be trusted from this organization. Right. All week it was, we support Cam. We believe in him. We're going to put him out on the field. He's going to play. He's going to do it. And then all of a sudden, on that following Sunday, Tom Jones is active and Cam is not. I mean, I didn't hear anything about an injury. Maybe the young man had a bad week of practice. But, you get in front of the microphone, they say something. And the lesson to be learned between the Travis Hunter switch up they did and all off season, the way they talk, just don't listen to them. Just don't, see what they do actions wise, but don't listen to any future indicators from them, because they constantly switch it up, Brad.
Yeah. Or don't, you can listen to them, but don't take any of it to mean anything in the real world.
How my kids handle when I give them direction. They listen, but they don't take it to mean anything. Yes. Actually, they just ignore the actual message inside there.
Exactly.
That's what we should do with the Browns when they tell us something. But I digress. They did give us some information on injuries from the game. They came out of the game, Brad, relatively healthy. They did lose DeJuan Jones, which we thought would happen for some period of time. But, it's a bummer. It's 3 seasons for him now. He played right tackle in the game. That caught me by surprise. I didn't catch that at first. He was over at right tackle, and Cornelius Lucas was back left.
Yeah.
The play was a play the NFL has banned, and I'm surprised there was no flag. Stefanski said they're going to send it to the NFL. He goes out on a, you can watch this on the film review we have up, but he goes out on a tight end screen. He's clearly well outside of the tackle box. If you can go low in either offense or defense in that circle of the square of the tackle box. It's kind of it's a loose definition, Brad. It's an imaginary line, but it's kind of when you see it. It's not hard to know when a guy is clearly outside of it. And DeJuan's clearly outside of the tackle box. They don't throw the flag. He has his foot in the ground, unfortunately, as the Packers DB, whose name is escaping me, Von Bullard maybe, dives into the legs, which when this rule was changed a couple, 3-4 years ago, I was like, that's tough for corners, because you got these 300+ guys with full momentum running at you, and you're supposed to take it standing up. Yeah. I mean, I also understand you want to keep guys healthy and not allow diving at the knees as best you can as a league. But I'm like 190, and Wyatt Teller's barreling down on me with a head start. I'm supposed to just
my move.
I'm supposed to stand here and take that.
What's my move?
But the rules are the rules, Brad. And if an offensive lineman is not expecting that because they can't, you're practicing and you're going through things in a world where that's not a thing anymore. Hey, I'm outside the tackle box. I'm on the run. That they can't go low on me. And then you all of a sudden have a guy dive at your legs. That's easy to see an injury happening. And it sucks for DeJuan. This is 3 straight years. Look, do I think he's been good enough to be like, man, he was a stone cold lock to be another contract? Probably not. But also when you miss gigantic portions of 3 seasons, it starts to be like, I don't know, Brad. It's hard to envision a relationship working out long term here, or even just having the opportunity to do it. You know what I mean?
It's a shame because he never gets the opportunity to like get any momentum in his game or like have a long stretch of play where we can see improvement. You know what I mean?
I
It's
agree.
like he's always coming back from something, and then it's like, okay, it's always like, here's where DeJuan is, here's where he needs to improve. This is what he's good at, and this is what he's bad at. Let's see what he can turn into. And he never gets enough of a running start before he gets hurt to see if he can do any of those things or take any of that coaching to the field.
That's how it's kind of been with conjecture about who he would be in his 3rd year, who he'd be in his 2nd year. People are very excited about how his 1st year went. He's going to be this dynamic right tackle for them. Got a chance to get a real steal, a 1st-round talent. Then he gets right tackle stuff is uneven because he's overweight coming off injury his 2nd year. Then he tries some left tackle, gets hurt, comes back in really good shape.
Which is the really shame of this all, I thought. Was like
he worked hard.
He did.
Yeah. It's a bummer. I feel for him. I'm not trying to, and I know that's not what you perceive either here. We're not trying to bury him. I think it's just a big bummer because he's got talent to do it.
Yeah.
And he had real moments to start the year where the pass pro was better. And you just don't have a chance to even know. That's the problem. I mean, they'll bring him. He's going to come back. We didn't get a definition on the injury. You have to imagine something's torn in there to call off his entire season.
Yeah.
So, hyperextension, you think, oh, there's a chance with the hyperextension he could come back at some point. And that's kind of, I think, what we were braced for was he's going to go on IR and we'll sort it out in the coming whatever days. And,
I was thinking like a month or something.
Yeah, me too, man. But you get the news he's done for the year and that just it's tough. He had an ankle injury and then 2 knee injuries that he's dealt with now.
Yes.
So it's hard. It gets hard for guys his size, his height, his weight to make all that work. So we feel for you.
Be rehabbing those lower extremities has got to be brutal.
Definitely, man. So we feel for you, DeJuan. All the best, man. It's a bummer. We are full on tackle scouting though here at the Browns Film Breakdown headquarters for the future of this team. That's a really big part of things going forward. I want to provide a film update this week of how the Utah kids did against Texas Tech. The team didn't do very well, but I want to show you how the tackles did on the offense because they can only do so much. But I want to keep looking at those guys, and we'll do more of that. We'll continue to look at tackles because it's something they have to try to figure out one of them. You can work on finding the other one, but one of them, right? We know Jack Conklin updated today, still day to day. They're trying to, I'm not optimistic still until I see some video where that elbow doesn't look like it's, Tommy John surgery stuff here. I don't know. We'll see. But Kevin said he was day to day. That's the only other injury update we got.
Yeah, that one video is very ominous about his future. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. So there you have it. That's the updates. Pretty quiet otherwise. We'll see what other injuries pop up. There are other little injuries that seem to pop up that come from the game that we just don't get updated on because they're not massive and Kevin's not required to report them if it's not something serious. So we didn't get anything else in that world.
We'll get a report tomorrow, right? Yeah. Or Wednesday.
We'll get an injury report Wednesday. Yep. We'll see. Lions are playing tonight. Ravens are running it really well on them. But the Lions also have a ridiculous run game of their own that is going to challenge the Browns' status quo as this elite run defense, which I do believe they're playing that way. Let's put it that way. But I will address some spots that I sort of am like concerned about based on how the Lions play. We'll get there later in the week. For now, Brad, as we look at the offense, their output better in the run game, found some production throughout the game, got more basic 5-yard runs, found more consistency in the 4-yard department. Caught, a couple explosives, a 14, a 38. There were moments. The run game is encouraging. Quinshon Judkins quite clearly a dude.
Yeah.
Which I knew that. You see it and you're like, I understand where some people are concerned, but the contact balance, the burst, the vision, the strength and pass block, it just is like, don't really see what I'm missing here from some people. So that's working out. Again, though, I think the boiling question is that I think the people want to put a lot of what's going wrong on Joe Flacco. And I think the discussion is one to be had. So I know you had watched the film room I made. I think it's good to get some reality check questions from that and really answer, is Joe Flacco the reason the Browns can't move the football? Because he was discussed to be replaced all week. Last week, there was loose reporting, and I capitalized the word loose on this one, that Dylan Gabriel was in contention to play in this game, perhaps even start. Again, I don't know that I totally buy into that, but I think people want to believe the quarterback is the biggest hindrance to the offense's success.
Yeah, I don't. I left that game with some questions, and then watching the film breakdown that you did, answered some of those. I don't think he is as much of an issue as I thought he was leaving the game until you see all 22, and you're like, there's just times where there's nothing there, and he's also getting pressured a lot, right? And I think when you can't see when you're watching the at home game, and you can't see where the routes are and who's open and who's not, it's very easy to be like, get rid of the ball, throw the ball, and you don't know what's out there. So I think you did a good job of pointing out that teams are running man against the Browns, and there is having a difficult time winning.
That's a great point. I'm going to put some film out on this particular topic tomorrow. I studied it loosely here, where I was like, I'm going to look into this. How much man coverage are teams playing according to what they did for 2 weeks versus what they did against the Browns? Now, a lot of moving part factors to be discussed in this, but the Browns are facing the second most man coverage snaps in the NFL
league
through 3 weeks. Now they played a lot of snaps because they've been in some garbage time moments at the end of games. The Baltimore one, Cincinnati one, they just played a lot of snaps, and so it's not. I listen. Put it this way: at minimum, they're facing the top 5 most man coverage snaps across the league. It's not like the Ravens in the final Dylan Gabriel drive last week were playing man coverage in that scenario. But it's clear to me that teams are comfortable in second and long, third and long, to say, hey, we're going to play man. We're going to take our guys up front. And not every team is going to have what Baltimore has at the first and second levels. And certainly not every team the Browns play are going to have, what Green Bay brings in pass rush organically, right? And they were doing a little mug front, some twists with 5 guys they were really good. They're really good conceptually. Both teams did a good job against the Browns offense and the offensive line with those guys. Not every team's going to have that, but the next few are going to be tough. Like what Detroit can do with Huntington, or, with their own Huntington, it's not Huntington, it's Hutchison. We have Aiden Huntington and they have Aiden Hutchison, which is forever going to really screw me up. Yeah. But they have enough pass rush juice. Yeah. Right. They do. And like the Lions, the Vikings the following week, I'm watching clips, man, where Flores has 2 safeties up in a 6-man front, wheeling out to cover 2, then playing cover 2 man off of it. They're like doing some exotic, ridiculous stuff. And what I'm getting at is, yes, the defenses are going to get easier personnel wise. There are going to still be complications. Like the road game at Detroit is going to be challenging for what they do in their secondary, what Branch does as a safety for them, how they play first level defense, and how they can get after the quarterback. And then obviously we know what I was just talking about Minnesota can do. Then you're on the road in Pittsburgh, who still has the voodoo, especially in their own building. They create turnovers there. Herbig and Watt, and if you got to hold on to the ball, they're going to make life tough on you there as a road team. So I guess where I'm at is like, their teams are playing man, Brad, because they know maybe we don't have enough juice to cover these guys the whole time, but we don't need to cover them for more than 2.5 seconds because our guys are going to get home. Sometimes pass rush, sometimes not pass rushing with an extra body, blitzing, I should say. So
the Browns live with a lot of. I mean, it's the
100%.
Same formula.
It is the same formula
being used against them, and it's marrying the pass rush with your coverage and man. And
the question becomes, how do you beat it? Well, you beat it by blocking it up and giving your routes enough time to get open. I think the Browns have some issues that they need to iron out where they're using motion, but they're not using it creatively enough for me to create route advantages, release advantages, leverage advantages. They need to be better with it when they are expecting man coverage. And like, they need to be in bunch formations where you're twist releasing and giving a bunch of confusing elements to how they're playing you. If they're playing man, they're not getting open, Brad. Like, there are some instances that I broke down that are there. I think I had 4 throws. Flacco either missed it. He missed a bootleg that was open. He missed there's another concept he missed an in-breaker on in the high red zone. There's some. Go watch it. There are some he's not seeing.
Yeah.
But then there's some schematically where I'm really confused. Like the play he threw the interception on, Brad.
Yeah.
The play before half. It's 4th and 8. The typical concept for a deep out and up is a deep post or a skinny post that holds down the single safety. And if it's man coverage, takes your corner out from the sideline, and then you have a chance to throw the wheel route or deep out and up behind it. They're clearing out. He's holding down the middle safety with the post. His corner's chasing him. And then you can throw the out and up. They take number 1 and just run him vertical. Yeah. And then they run an out and up from number 2, and he's just running behind him.
They're right.
And the corner who was on number 1 is the one who turns around to intercept it. And the free safety gets all the way over there, because I'm like, I don't understand. Some of the things they're doing conceptually are really confusing to me. There are times where I'm watching and like, there's 2 receivers that aren't getting off of each other's. Like, there's a couple times where there are guys just like 10 yards downfield right next to each other. I continue to dislike the space timing on their bootleg stuff in terms of having clear, deep, intermediate, and shallow throw options. And I still think they're not tendency breaking enough on some of their high-low reads that they like to do, where teams are jumping the dig routes and are giving you a chance to take that stick route that you run and sit down and don't move and just like hitch and go it and turn up the sideline because they're driving on that route. Or a dig route where you're running a 12-yard dig, you got a quarter safety who's driving on it, running out like a dig, a one and go, like a dig and go, where you put a double. They won't do that stuff. They have not, and put it out there on tape. They're unwilling to do it. So long story short, Flacco is certainly not lifting the offense. He's not making it better per se. But I don't think anybody should have been expecting that. If you were expecting Joe to make them better, I think that was an expectation problem for you. What you needed them to do was have all the elements from coach schematics over to run game performance to pass game blocking to be an elevator for Joe, to give him more time, to give him throws downfield to take, which happened, I thought, more in the late 2023 season for him.
Yep.
And his ability to rip it downfield was on display. What's going on right now is teams understand where the Browns are trying to attack in the 5 to 12 range. They're sitting on it. The Packers were throwing their, kind of screw it. I'm doing the comprehensive breakdown to an extent right now, so whatever. Like the Packers were taking their curl flat guys in cover 3 and just telling them, hey, haul ass to the sideline. Take away speed outs, and we'll cover, our inside guys will cover everything inside of those. We'll take those away. We'll jump those. There's a spot route they kept trying to run, which I talk about again in the All-22 that you should go watch if you want to understand this, where it's basically number 1, the furthest outside receiver is running a little inverted hitch route, call it a spot route. You get a corner route from number 2, and the back is in the flat. And what we're trying to do is high-low read the corner. If he plays the flat or he plays the stick, throw the corner out over top. If he jumps wide to play the flat, in kind of maybe put in there's a safety over the top on the corner, just throw the stick route, right? And if no one's playing the flat, just throw the flat. So the first time up, Flacco throws the flat. He's a little late to it because everything's kind of congested, has to see it, process it, understand it, and it gets destroyed, right? I think it's Ford gets lit up by the backer and the curl flat because he's hauling out there, meets it, drives him in the ground. So next time they run it in the fourth quarter, he says, all right, you're not going to jump that flat on me again. You're going to haul ass to the flat. I'm just going to throw the stick route behind you. Edgerrin Cooper, pretty good football player, says, that's so fast, my friend. I know what you're trying to do. He hauls out there initially like he's going to run to the flat, knows what Flacco is thinking, and nearly undercuts the spot route, for an interception.
Yeah.
Like, the teams know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's funny because on that play, Brad, the second time they ran that spot variation, they didn't run the corner route from number 2. They ran an in-breaker. And because Joe is so worried about having enough time to throw things and wanting to get it out of his hands, he doesn't read the in-breaker, which is open. So it's a compound effect happening right now. You have protection that's not nearly consistent enough. There are way too many times where they're getting beat around the corners faster than Joe can have a chance to read the front side, get to the backside. The interior pressure too often pushes into his lap. There's a chance he has in the third quarter, Brad, to throw a vertical seam where I think it's Isaiah Bond. Maybe it was a different receiver. Excuse me if I'm wrong on that. Sells outside and then puts his outside foot in the ground and gets inside. And there is a window to let it rip. Yep. Joe gets to it. He gets from right to left and gets to it. And he wants to throw it, but the center has been pushed back into his base. So he can't step into it and throw it. And if he threw it off his back foot, it's going to hang in the deep safety at center field. Kind of at that time was a little to the right. He could have gotten to it if that ball hangs in the air and picked it off, So it's just, there are times when Joe wants to give it a little more breathing room and let it read it out and let it, give it a chance to develop, to push it downfield. You can't throw downfield in 2.25 to 2.5 second reps. You can't do it. Jordan Love couldn't do it. So the Browns can't do it. And the problem is then they'll get it blocked up right one time. And Joe's brain is a little hurried up because he's used to being under quick duress. That he then doesn't see the next opportunity. There's a play action concept they call in the third quarter where they want to get to, they're running a front side curl with a deep over on the left. And Joe should get to it, but he kind of like, as he tries to come back left, there's a little bit of the center or left guard getting, a little bit of pushback in his face. He immediately comes off. He immediately comes off of it and goes right, dumps it off. It's a ball that gets thrown into the ground, where if he just is like trusted a little bit, there's a chance to throw it in the window between the mic and the will and drop coverage. And like he did there's a couple really great throws where he hung in on the first quarter and threw a deep dig on a second and like 21. He threw that one to a Bond. That was the Bond that got it to 3rd and 4. They didn't complete the next throw on 3rd and 4. The second quarter one you're talking about to Judy was phenomenal. He's on the front side, and there are two people, like one guy comes around on a stunt, unblocked, and another beats his man off the left side, probably Parsons, and he's got to like hang, and like just trust it and flip it out there. I'm just telling you right now, this would be hard for Patrick Mahomes. Like it would be hard for the dudes, because they're not blocking it up well enough. And I think that like when your clock is as sped up as it is, you need somebody who's a get out of the pocket and run around type. Like they need somebody who can do the play within a play thing, and they don't have anyone. And I don't mean to be offensive to Dylan. I just think that right now that's hard to envision a good offense versus what they're running up against. And the next 3 weeks are why I'm like not in some gigantic hurry to pass this off to Dylan, because you're talking some ridiculously hard stuff to identify with what the Vikings do. The Lions in that dome play a very good quality defense of their own. And we know Pittsburgh and how hard that is, and those edge rushers they bring and how they'll try to attack you. And it's hard right now. The problem is They don't have like those, trying to make sure to say this the right way, and I'm going long winded. I don't mean to keep talking, but like teams have a dude, like you're paying the dudes who make the stuff that you scheme up easier to work. And like they don't have a giant ball winner up the sideline they can throw the ball to constantly. They don't necessarily have a quarterback who can create outside of structure to consistently find answers that the scheme doesn't always give you, or the offensive line breakdowns. You're the guy who recreates over that. And they don't run it with enough efficiency yet to make teams say to themselves, we have to sell out to stop the Browns run.
Yeah.
And then you create. Now they could, that was a nice sign of run game stuff starting to like, okay, I kind of see where it's going. But
it was getting closer, it felt like.
It did. So that is the light at the end of the tunnel. If they can run it better and create opportunities to throw off of that run game more consistently, some things can break loose. But what I'm getting at is like, Judy's a route winner. And if you can't give him 3 seconds to get open downfield, hard to get him to be the most effective version of himself, right? The same Tillman, the same thing. Like they don't have answers. Let me put it this way. They don't have answers to the test when the test arrives in a very quick way. Yeah. If they take away your first 2.5 seconds to 2.25 seconds of answers, they don't have somebody who can recreate and give you that all of the above option on a multiple choice equation. So it's going to be hard for a while until they find some of that. That's it.
And you would expect them. Yeah, it's going to be hard. I get that. And I think I've come to the realization that with the next 3 teams that they play, that Flacco is obviously your best option of an understanding of that, the complexity of the defense that you're going to see coming at you, his height, his ability to read things out as a veteran that he is. He just gives you the best ability to continue to build off of whatever they're doing. I do wonder, is there a lack, last question on this topic, and we'll move to some other things I want to ask about.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a lack of creativity from Stefanski?
Yeah, I don't think they're doing enough to counteract their biggest issues.
Okay.
Schematic repetition. They're too repetitive in some of the things they try to do.
And the spacing.
Yes, and I don't think their pass game is mirroring their run game very well right now.
Okay.
And I don't think their motion, although it's nice to have more of it, I don't know that it's purposeful. I don't know what creative, like what advantage is what they're doing with motion giving them. It's not much. So I think there's a motion to do motion thing, which is not, I'd rather have you doing it than not doing it. But I want to know what things you're doing, that motion you're using, which is like Isaiah Bond getting cardio hours in out there. Yeah. What ways are you then using his motion to positively impact what you're doing? How can you bring Cedric Tillman in motion and ear hole somebody on pin pull stuff? Can you create this situation where you're using the motion to sell the run and then have him bursting out on a drag on a shallow that works because it looks like the run game? I just don't think they're doing a good enough job mirroring. And I think teams have a really good feel still right now for what they're doing when they line up every play. I don't have a sense that defenses have a fear of this is going to be something we don't expect. And I think there's no fear when going to man coverage that we can stick with these guys for the required 2.5 seconds before we get home. Now they're going to play teams like Miami later. They're going to play teams that are not as good, the Titans and others, who will not have that ability with their front four, the same level of ability. You're not going to see Rashawn Gary every week, or Odafe Owe, or Micah Parsons, or Aiden Hutchinson, who we're going to see next week. They're not going to see those guys all the time. So that's going to alter as the season wears on. But for now, the world we're living in, and you're like, Jake, why is this bad? Can just replacing the quarterback with a rookie who's never played
it's not
meaningful,
the answer.
It's just not the answer.
Yeah.
So we came into the season saying, hey, the Browns probably have the worst quarterback room in the league. It's probably playing out that way. It's right there with the Saints, right? It's right there with the Saints. It's
Yeah.
playing out that way. And
Yeah.
your question to me of like, is the quarterback holding them back? I don't think so. I think there's
Right.
a chance Dylan moves better back there, and there's a slim chance he can get out of a little more chaos.
Yeah.
But am I telling you like, hey man, this is a Nick Chubb, Carlos Hyde situation. They just got to figure this out.
Yeah.
That's not it. That's not it. So I think Dylan will get his time. It will come, but I'm not in a hurry to get there yet because I think the bigger problems they're having are making an offense that is conducive to keeping defenses off balance. And maybe this gets better as they run it better, open
Yeah.
to that being the solution. And maybe it gets better as the pass rushes they're facing get lighter. It's all very possible. But they're going to see the Ravens again. They're still going to play good defenses across the rest of this schedule. And you got to start finding more answers. And that's the thing I'm most concerned with right now is finding more answers and being more explosive on the perimeter and how your route running works and getting off the physical nature of man coverage and creating more separation because separation data can be misleading. Separation against zone coverage is very different from separation against man coverage. And it's different from when you're the primary versus the secondary target. There's a lot of elements there that sometimes can be misleading. They did a good job week 1. I don't think they've done a great job in the last 2 weeks, though.
That was actually going to be my next question real quickly on week 1. We saw them do a lot of this quads return motion with the back. And they had some success with that where they had trips, right? And they would keep bringing that. They did it a ton of times against the Bengals. We haven't seen it since then. And they had some success with that. Is that something that they should go back to? Because if you recall, it was kind of a way they were reading the Bengals defense a little bit with the return motion with the back to the backfield. And then off of that, they, were able to see some things clear out right in front of them. They hit Tillman on a nice post the one time off of that for a big play. And just the bunch formation trips against man kind of just automatically puts teams in a little bit of a conflict in a quicker way than some of the downfield stuff will.
No, they've done some of it. I think they didn't use as much running back motion these past 2 weeks. I think maybe there's a world where you didn't expect to get so much man coverage, so they didn't plan on it. Whereas against the Bengals, they did. And they did use a lot of flat motion to unfold man or zone, but I don't think it's been a hindrance to know what coverage is coming. I think the hindrance has been finding things that work to develop the time necessary to get to some of those guys, and that they're not running enough quick winning routes.
Yeah.
They're not. So that's a part of it. What were we concerned about coming in the year? Did they have enough in the wide receiver room?
Yeah.
Do they have enough in the quarterback room? It's not good enough so far, but it's also not unexpected to me in some regard. So I'm open to the idea that they get better. I think there's certainly a chance they can, but I think you're looking at a offense that needs a quarterback replacement. We know that could use more talent at wide receiver, right? I think that's clear. And they can hopefully find that next offseason. And then obviously still needs to have help up front. They're going to need some tackles. So
they are. My next question on this topic is something I brought up in the post-game show, but we just kind of pushed it off because we were so happy about the win and everything. But Dylan Sampson's usage, 5 snaps in this game, all the way down to 5 offensive snaps. And this is an offense that's having trouble moving the ball. Like, you can't tell me that after the way we saw him turn the corner on some people, that you don't want to get him more touches, whether it be the pass game or whatever. But 5 snaps to Jerome Ford's 24, and I do think I'm not gonna lie. I think Jerome Ford played a pretty decent game in this
Mhm.
one. So I'm not like saying that Jerome Ford did a bad job, but he just doesn't have the explosive ability that Sampson does, and limiting him to 5 snaps. I would like to see him get involved, even if it's in the pass game more.
I was surprised, Brad. I think we
Yeah.
both were surprised by that. I don't know the answer. I mean, what do we, okay, let's look at the hard evidence. What do we know? Well, last week there was pretty bad in pass protection. Do I agree
Yes.
that leaving him one-on-one with Roquan Smith is the smart thing to do? I
No.
don't think so. I also don't think Jerome Ford is some popular, not popular is not the right word, some efficient pass blocker is on his own world. But I think you have to look at, okay, he didn't perform well in the third down back role last week from the duties that they asked him to do. I think they should be getting him out and throwing him the football a bit more, but I digress. But also, a lot of their third downs were third downs where they wanted to get a chip on the defensive end.
Yeah.
And Ford is a little bit bigger to do that because of the length of the third downs they were putting themselves into.
Yep.
So that's an element of it. And then on top of all that, we don't really know. Maybe he had a bad week of practice. Maybe he didn't do very well in their setups of like, hey, identifying who you're supposed to be blocking on this set. Are you working the front side mic to the will? Like there's just some stuff we also don't know. So I'm with you. I'm disappointed. I want to see more of him, especially considering what we saw week 1. Made a nice touchdown catch, albeit late in week 2, but it was still a clean route, good catch. I'd like to see more of him, but I also recognize I don't know everything going on around the meeting rooms. I don't know everything going on in the practice field. And I certainly know that there is some evidence last week that if they're asking these guys to stand and block on third down, he's not the best solution
He
for
can't
that.
do that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't want to write him off on that. I know you're not doing that.
It's early.
You're not,
for him
you're
to
not
do
gonna block Roquan every week. You're gonna have some different things. He's got to get better there. I thought the college tape was fine. I thought he fought and he was a willing blocker at Tennessee. They actually kept their running backs into block quite a bit because of the spacing that they would have in play. So I was more concerned about him as a pass catcher than a run block or a pass blocker coming into the league, ironically enough, just because of what ample evidence was on the tape from his Tennessee days. So I don't have the answer for it. I know I want to see him playing more. I think there's quite clearly a future for him, more so than Jerome Ford. We'll see if it's a trend. That's the thing we have to track. Is this a 1 week situation based on pass rush fears you had and maybe a lack of feeling comfortable in using the back in the passing, or is this a trend? I don't want it to be a trend. So our eyes will be there next week for sure.
Yeah, those were the questions I wanted to bring up. The quarterback, Sampson, the man-to-man stuff. How can they win? We talked about the offensive line. They're gonna have to. I feel like the run game was better, and Judkins certainly is a difference maker there.
Yeah.
Like he just has better vision. He's finding space. His contact balance is just a better back, and in creating. But
and more
I do
mass.
think that
He has more mass and pass block. He had a great cut block off of a play action on Cooper running through the middle. He missed. I think he missed one later. I think it's hard to totally say.
Up.
He had the Parsons hit there that pissed Mike off. That's a hard one. I hate those personally because those feel chop blocky to me. Like he's engaged with the defensive end, is engaged with the tackle, and he gets like ear hold. And it happens to Miles sometimes too. And there was the popular, play there in the preseason where Abdul Carter got the same thing. You're like going into one guy locked in and somebody hits you on the side. And it's like, it's kind of the same thing as a chop block. I understand it's not leg based. You're trying to protect people's lower bodies.
Yeah.
But it's a dangerous play. So but there's no doubt Judkins is a bigger dude. Physical. We were laughing about the term bell cow back. I mean, he should probably be out there for more third downs. He can catch the football and he's clearly they're strong. He's he's like, what was the dude's name for Doug Martin? Muscle Hamster back in the day in the Tampa Bay teams.
Muscle.
Like, he's the same dude. He's a brick shithouse, man. So he can handle some of those duties. He was good at it at Ole Miss. He was good at it at Ohio State. So you know,
I thought they got a little more push up front in the run game.
They did. They did.
Schematically, they had some better answers in the run game, I thought.
I thought scheme wise, I liked their run game. I thought they did a little bit more trapping up front. They did a bit more gap stuff instead of wide zone. I thought they were a little better place to run interior of Green Bay than outside. So yeah, I just have concerns in the passing game right now. My concerns lie in pass game predictability, the ability to win in routes that you have to win, and obviously, simultaneously is like how they're marrying their run and pass. I just don't feel it's not bearing any fruit right now, and it needs to, because you don't have the play elevators who nobody was open, but we threw it high to Justin Jefferson and he caught it, right? You did try that one time to Tillman and it was a beautiful throw and catch, but he pushed off, right? So that's what you're trying to get more of those, the back shoulder throw to Jerry Jeudy there in Baltimore that was a 25-yard gain. You need more of those. You need more of the DBs and linebackers being concerned. Like there's a third down, and I'll shut up and we'll move on. But like there's a third and that goal line situation where they got the chop block and it pushed them back to second and goal from the 17-yard line. They run one play, then it's third down and they run 4 verts, and the coverage, the quarters coverage melted where Njoku was running his cross field vertical against a safety who has to turn and run. Like just rip that thing and see if he comes up with it. Like you've got to eventually challenge these guys downfield. You've got to just throw some vertical goes and give your guys a chance. Like otherwise DBs never feel like they have to fear getting in the back pedal and turning, and they're playing everything on their toes and they're jumping routes and they're down and everything feels compressed. Right. So
makes sense.
There you go. That's it. Watch the video. I mean, everything I'm talking about here, there's ample video evidence of what's being referenced. So go check that out.
Go watch it. It's so good. Just to understand where the Browns are and where they are getting better, where they are struggling, and just you can enjoy. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe and go enjoy that. It's the best perk that we offer, in my opinion. So
I think they're pretty unique. No one else is really breaking down every play. So it gives you an idea as a fan. You will know more, have more educated takes than sitting here saying that, if you put Dylan Gabriel in, you're waving the white flag. We don't say things like that here. So, but also it's, a recognition of who's really at fault, who's to blame, who's the one that made the mistake. Is this going to help? Is that the answer? And I think that's what we try to show you guys. So that's it for the open. I'm going to do a very brief after the break for subscribers. I'm going to go into some of the data I have from the game. We really have covered all my philosophical thoughts in this. So there you go. That's what you get every Monday. But we'll cover the data and some of the player performance stuff after the break. So stick around for that if you're a sub. If not, thanks for being here. We appreciate you greatly for stopping by, checking out the show. We have a Monday parlay Brad and I put together through FanDuel that is on track right now. It's on track. We put it in our founders channel. So, we keep some of those good ones behind the founders channel as well. We drop some of them in there. So check that out. If you want to come in, it's a great chat. We got a ton of great conversation, data, numbers get thrown out in there. The guys are putting together graphs. Founders channel is awesome. And we try to get FanDuel incorporated in there as much as we possibly can. So check that out. That's a fun everyday Cleveland Browns discussion with some other really good topics that come up as well around the Cavs and the Guardians and all this other stuff. So it's great. So hell, we even had a guy in the group propose to his girlfriend in the Muni lot on Sunday.
How about that?
She said yes, by the way. So congrats, Sam. We're pulling for you, man. All the best. Marriage is great. 2 thumbs up. So there you go, buddy. All right, that's it for today, though. I swear we're done.
This one.
That's it. That's it. So we're done. We're out. Thanks for being here. Come join us at Browns Film Breakdown. You won't regret it. And thanks to our presenting sponsors, Monfredi Dental in Hilliard, just south of Hilliard, here in Columbus. Fantastic dental office that sponsors what we do here at Browns Film Breakdown. And to thank you once again to FanDuel. We're out. Have a fantastic Tuesday, guys, and go Browns.